Assalamu alaikum with my left hand to the Zionist Lebanese politicians in government, and Assalamu alaikum with my right hand to everybody. This is not a live podcast. I'm doing this, what time is it? 18:13 p.m. Monday the 23rd, I think it is. Monday the 23rd of June 2025. So if it was in June the 16th, 2016,
Well, that's what I mean. That is their logo.
17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. I would have been going in 7 days into my hunger strike this time on the 16th of June. So I would have been 7 days where I've been abducted, no lawyer, no contact with family. Mum and Dad were in Lebanon. 3 sisters are out here. I don't really see them or talk much to them. And the police decide to use them as my next of kin. Well, that's illegal. Both my dad and mum were alive at the time. I've lost my dad, and my mother has just had another accident recently, and she's in the hospital now. And because the Zionists in Islington have infiltrated my family by means of separating them and dividing them and approaching them in deceptive ways, for be them charities, be them other organisations, friends that they've developed or made contact with. And they're so stupid, they're green, they don't understand how the cookie crumbles in England. I'm in London's Brick Lane. I think we're just coming up to some of the shops that George Galloway wants to buy. Look, he wants to buy Vintage, the shop that's called Vintage. I don't know if this is one of them, but there's a few down here. Second-hand shop he wants to buy. No lawyer, no contact with MP, no contact with police. Let's start that again. So I was incommunicado on hunger strike, detained on a, quote, harassment charge of sending an email. No lawyer, no contact with family, and they wouldn't even let me contact the Lebanese embassy and speak to them. Because when they heard, after me demanding that I speak to the embassy, when they heard that I'd had a phone call from the president, they thought there was something wrong with me. فهمتوا؟ ولا لا؟ لما البوليس اجوا دقوا على بابي واخذوني، قالوا لي انه انا under arrest على charge اسمه harassment. بس مستحيل انا كنت harass anyone. لأنه the people who I was told to contact, those individuals that I sent a tweet to, was a very well-known man in England. Took a picture of him once on one of my very first videos down here outside the mosque. Boris Johnson. It was Boris Johnson who referred me to the people I was contacting. So how could I be harassing anyone? What, by sending a tweet that didn't breach any terms? How could that happen? Well, it's happened. And I'm not allowed to tell you the name of the person, because if I do, they'll put me in prison. And I thought it was for 4 months, but it's probably longer than that. God knows what it is. You just can't trust politicians or lawyers in this country. They're not there to represent you. And if you ever thought for 1 second that they are there to represent you, you're really deluded. You're really out of touch, if I'm going to use a better word, out of touch with reality. The bar is so sectarian now. No one is coming out and saying it. No one is. No one from the legal profession has got the fucking bollocks to say that the bar in England is a sectarian, racist, discriminating part of a cult. That cult needs to get out of the bar. But it's that cult that's perverting the words and lost in translation definitions of law, who are poisoning the minds of lawyers. Let's face it, they study long enough. Why are they studying long enough to be cunts? Yeah? They're already the biggest launderers of money in the profession. Biggest launderers of money. Whereby they pay the least amount of tax. So they don't benefit this country. Lawyers, barristers, judges, police officers, high ranking in all those professions, they do not benefit this country. No. I need to clean my screen. So, when you get arrested and sent to a mental health hospital, which is the first time I've ever been, they have to go through certain processes and procedures, you see? And these processes and procedures, if you don't follow them, then you can't detain them. For example, you have to have a couple of psychiatrists, and you have to have a social worker, and I'm not entirely sure. Those I know for sure, definitely you have to have them. I'm not entirely sure about the rest of them. What else you're supposed to have? They're supposed to come in and examine you when you're in a police cell, or talk to you, to make a decision.
I got some vinyl.
And when you make that decision, you'll be in a position to decide. So when you have all the facts with you, like any management position in any profession, and if you're being asked to give a report on the incident, you have to follow that procedure. So when the psychiatrists came to the cell, along with the so-called mental health social worker who I confronted later when I come out, I'll tell you about it in a little bit if I remember. When they never did sit with me and talk to me, all they done is for 45 seconds the police opened the cell that I was in. 45 seconds, and then shut it. And that was when they issued Section 2 of the Mental Health Act. I was trying to tell them, because that's the police have thought that I wasn't telling the truth about me receiving a phone call from President Michel Sleiman. Shame on you. Shame on you, you sad example of a Maronite. You sad example. I know a better example of a Maronite than you. A higher, more intelligent, more brainier man who is a Maronite. My whole fucking family knows him. He excels in Lebanon. He's currently working for the Lebanese mafia. And he told me that himself. Are you listening, Michel Sleiman? Are you listening to others? How many of you got the fucking balls to come out and say that? Yeah? Please know about it. Even Piers Corbyn now, I messaged him, told him. So I have to spread the word out, really, because if it means that I have to bring in people of importance, significance, be them the number one Al Jazeera presenter, Jalal Shahda, the Shahda family, who I know well, friends of the family, friends of the extended families. I've been in their house, I've been around with their brothers, I've been on the boats to the islands in Lebanon, Rabbit Island, been to the beaches. So we're not connected. I'm not connected. No. But what I will do is, if in time in life, as we're growing as British Lebanese expats, if we need people who are part of our background and history, and we ask for that help, the least that they could do is offer that help. And when I confronted them on social media, Shahada's family, my family didn't like it, but I'm afraid there's nobody gives a shit about what my sisters think, because they're disgusted about their inability to confront me after the hunger strike and answer questions that I had that were so important, that I ended up retrieving that information from news that included UK column, Vanessa Beeley, about the mental health controlling by Israel here in this country, the agencies, the charities in England who go around saying that they will help you with your housing matters and your repairs, and then end up not, doing that, but end up being agencies targeting Palestinians, Muslims, Arabs, Syrians, Yemenis, all the countries that now in invasion and occupation and oppression. Yeah? All those people will be targeted and have been. And they've been informing the public of this And I have to forward these articles to my sisters so they can sit down and look back as to what's actually happening out there. So that they can witness what this country is doing. It's important that you understand that I do know my law to the extent that I continue to seek accountability. Today I went on a tweet rant to specific people. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Youssef Raghi, President Aoun, his wife, who they call First Lady. They call First Lady to the President's wife, don't they? Thought I'll include her in, because if she's giving it her side of representing her husband, then it's important that she also gets included in my tweets of exposing, because I want the message to get to Babda Palace. Yeah, well, that message to get to Babda Palace. Yeah, I could use profanity. Yeah, which won't do me any good, I know. But it's better than going out and reacting on it. This is my biting point of coming on social media and doing what my lawyer told me, and that is to expose my findings about my, quote, presidential case, unquote. I confronted the social worker, mental health social worker, after I came out from being detained on 17 days hunger strike. I went to her office. Yep. It was in the same office as where Anton Gregory was working. And you'd hear me mention Anton Gregory, because he's the one that stole my King Robbo picture from school, from my house, when he came round to my house. Yeah, so there's an allegation out there, yeah, that I'm putting out there. If you think you've got the bollocks to contest it, do it. Do you hear that, Anton? Do it. Do it. Yeah? Who told you to rob me from my King Robbo picture? Who wanted it? Who is it behind your back in Islington's constituencies? Who is it that's behind your back? I want that picture back, and a proper lawyer will be able to debunk you. Proper lawyer. So the social worker gets confronted by me. I go into her office. I tell her, you're the one who authorised me being sent under Section 2 of the Mental Health Act, because I told you I received a phone call off of the President and you didn't like it. Well, it turned out true, and I got the audio, and I've dished it out to many politicians and leaders. And confronting you, you bitch, you're probably retired now, confronting you on social media doesn't mean that just because you left that job, yeah, that you're not going to be held accountable. I'm going to find out where you live, and I'm going to do a podcast in a public pavement, in a street. That's what I do. And I'll do a live one. Not like this one, this is recorded. She's She didn't like me confronting her in front of all her office. They've never ever witnessed someone have received a phone call from a president. A bunch of shitty civil servants, scumbags, who don't want to be held accountable, but are accountable. So when you leave your jobs, yeah, whether you're working in the police force or whether you're working as some doctor who injects people's mums and dads with deadly, poisonous injections, yeah, karma is coming to you. Karma is coming to you. I believe in karma. I really do. كس أخت العرس. So she bans me from going to that office. So she doesn't like it when I expose her. But I need a lawyer to do it. You can't approach any lawyer like this. I need a lawyer who knows what to do. Not just any lawyer could do it. I've approached so many. It's unbelievable. It really is unbelievable. And it's a travesty that the Lebanese government out there are not paying attention to their own, how can I say, عرضهم. ما بعرف أفسرها بالإنجليش. Their own image, protecting the image of the presidency ranking in the country, protecting the image of a Maronite. Now you want us Sunni Lebanese to go and tarnish your reputation, yeah? And for you lot who dispute that, and you're a Christian, yeah, I converted to Christianity for a split few seconds, just a split few seconds. I've explained that to the president in DMs, to the president of Lebanon, that is, former, one before him, Michel Suleiman. And I've explained it in my podcast as well, where I was best man and godfather, and when I was in the ceremony of being a godfather, I was supposed to say certain vows, and those vows you have, for each person's country, you have certain vows that you could say. Well, they were telling me that they only have one for the Christianity. And it was a very deceptive cunt. I have to call him a deceptive cunt. The father. Yeah? He's a father in a church in Bromley. For not telling me that there's also, which I later see, words you say when you're doing a ceremony, if you're a Muslim. Yeah, the swearing in of being a godfather. So I was deceived by them and my long-term best friend, who, as a result of the eviction, him and my other friend, who was living with him, and we were at the house. When they left, I stayed in the house with one of them, and one of them left eventually, and then I no longer talked to them. I lost friends I've known since we were 6 or 7 years old, grew up together, went abroad together, seen every part of England you want to see together, spent weekends and weeks and holidays. My lifetime growing up with them. I lost them. One of them was brought to court in my eviction to speak against me. They were blackmailing him. He was a black cab driver, so he can't get in trouble. But they were blackmailing him. And they were wrong too. They were threatening him. Islington Council. Her name was Valerie Dawes, a senior member in Islington Council, who knows who my family is. Valerie Dawes, along with Cora Nichols, very senior members currently work in Islington Council, corrupt individuals. Cora Nichols was the one that took cash bribe for a council flat from my schoolmate's dad. And that flat, I know about it because it was offered to us. Jeremy Corbyn went to, on the day that that flat, that estate there was opened. It was called Pickford's Wharf. Hello, mate. Brother, I'll get paid tonight. I'm sorry, I can't help you. I wish I can. But I'm sure that if you approach them there's a lady there with a man. He might get a bit embarrassed and get you something. Oh, gosh. It's happened so often now that people come around asking you to help them. So often, it's unbelievable. Having my welfare benefits deducted, and I believe that this attempted attack, of reducing the welfare benefits of people is a targeted attack. I don't believe it's something that's just on everyone. No, I don't think it impacts everyone. I think that everybody who's been on social media and speaking up have been targeted. And it's going to take a while before what I'm saying is going to be proved out there, in the same way that my presidential case needed evidence to go out there, and a lot of it has come out in news on other incidents that are happening and are somehow tied into the processes and procedures of what I was subjected to on my hunger strike. So there's going to be, it's going to be even worse. Crime is going to go up because if people are going to have their welfare benefits deducted. I can see anarchy coming into effect, and I can see violence coming in. And the worst profession to have right now is if you're a police officer, if you're a lawyer, a barrister, working in the courts, a judge, all those positions of enforcement, all those positions that, straight this out. These positions are going to be targeted and attacked by the public on a mass scale. I think people are going to come to terms with what's going on. They're going to start to react in a uniting manner. I think there must be an understanding now. There must be an absorbing of information on how protesting is not doing nothing, and how what's happening out in the Middle East is only going to travel across the world, abroad. The enforcements, the terrorist acts, the way the police are acting in a state terrorist manner. I think it's all being absorbed, and there will be a reaction. Yeah, for every action there's a reaction. There will be unrest. It's already happening. We haven't organised our youth to be up front, our students who are out of work now, looking for work but can't get jobs. We haven't utilised them properly. It's a shame that the Arab world hasn't actually prepared itself for what's happening. It really is. It's a shame. I'm talking about the protesting, the activism. There's no organisation in it for it to have an impact, because you do need an international recognised process and procedure of countering the foreign policies of these genocidal governments. These politicians who are supposedly representing us as a two-way communication voice with the government is turning out to be, they're there to defend the government, they're there to speak for the government, and all their activities in Parliament, all their question times and Parliament scenes on CCTV are actually orchestrated. That's what it is. It's orchestrated. It's planned before. It's the first nicely designed picture I've seen. The unusual way. There's a way of promotion, eh? Interesting. Sticks out. Thank you, brother. Have a nice day. Look at that. 30 quid. It's come over from India.
Yeah, I mean, I told you.
Right, man who exports this stuff. Jeremy Corbyn has emailed me and he's told me that I'm not in his constituency. Because I'm not in his constituency, he can't help me. Well, he was the leader of the Labour Party at the time it happened when I made my complaint. And it was at 2016 when I forwarded my complaints and continuously been trying to contact him. He hasn't been getting back. He only gets back just a week ago or so. So he's dug into the deadlines of reclaiming accountability, which means that I have to sue him. I have to sue him. I have to sue the cunt, the old fucking white cunt sucking the blood off of the Palestinians, talking about us as if he's defending us. We don't want Jeremy Corbyn to issue his Chilcot inquiry papers, yeah, which only elevate him when he retires, which is going to be this year. He ain't going to last. They're going to get rid of him. Take a laugh here. Careful. Syrian shawarma here. Shukran. I don't understand. I mean, I do actually. There's a lot of money to be made in giving out their empathy on Palestine, and people thinking, yeah, he's all right. He's all right. He's defending Palestine. What he said there is great. Oh, I like him. Oh, I'm going to start subscribing to him. And that's how they do. They suck on the blood of the Palestinians and the Syrians and the Lebanese and the Yemenis and the Iranians and the Iraqis. And this goes on. But I do believe that there are things that could be done that would change the course of their action. or would alter the course of their action, because let's remember here one very important thing that is happening right now. Right now, Israelis are evacuating Palestine. Over 25,000 allegedly, and if it's said that it's 25,000, I reckon it's 250,000. Yeah, at least, if not more, that have recently wanted to get out because of what's happening now with Syria finally shooting off their old ancient rockets. So these people, if they leave Israel, you know what's going to happen? They're going to spread their poison, their indoctrinated minds with textbooks from school days and nursery on how to hate Arabs, Muslims. In the same way as the Palestinians now, in Gaza and in the rest of Palestine, if they get out, if they are able to get out, this would be seen as a something that Netanyahu doesn't want to happen. He doesn't want them to get out to be witnesses to the genocide. This is a bigger genocide than the this is a far bigger genocide than the so-called Holocaust. Yeah, this is much bigger. Why? Because they've circled the people in the country, and they've stopped them from receiving what they should be, their rightful ownerships, and they don't want them. Basically, I lost track what I'm saying. Something's just happened here. Basically, what I'm saying is, yeah, I believe that they want to kill off all the Palestinians. They're not going to get any of them to get out. That's what they want to do, yeah. And there is an opportunity to stop it. I still believe that there could be opportunity to stop it, but I don't think Iran are acting in a way in which they are able and capable to do it. Now, let's not kid ourselves here, yeah? We're talking about the powers that rule the world, collectively. Yeah? But they can't rule without people working for them. And those people that work for them are part of them. And it's up to us how we move forward with it. It's up to the people how we move forward with it. And in order for something to have an impact, a serious, proper impact with what's happening now with Iran and Israel, first of all, let me tell you, yeah, whatever just happened, yeah, is insignificant. It has no significance other than the fact that they've been pounded more. Israel's been targeted more than before now. Whereas before, the legacy was with Saddam Hussein, the legacy was with Muammar Gaddafi, yeah, who did fire back. But Iran's job shouldn't be seen as something of any joy. No, because to me, what should really happen is that first of all military locations in Israel would have been targeted by now in a mass scale. Yeah, no stops in between, continuous pounding of Israel's infrastructure, all its power stations and power plants, all its water and all its resources, all the elites' houses that are part of the government, part of the army, everyone militarily would become a legitimate target, and to continuously do that on a repetitive scale over a period of at least 6 months, would do the job. Now, have we seen that? No. We've seen a few rockets. So I'm not entirely sure where Iran is in the map today. Not entirely sure. I think that I've said this before, that I'll say it again. I think there was a coup already in Iran. I think we witnessed that through the continuous assassinations of they got scientists, politicians, ministers, presidents, prime ministers being killed off, or whatever it is they have. And also, in that same domino effect, it's been filtering to Lebanon, and the Lebanese have not realised that there's already been a coup in Iran, and what we've just seen is the aftermath of the takeover of that coup.
See, we've got some artists here doing some graffiti. That looks like that man who said, "I'm the firefighter." How you doing, Jen?
He put a little sign up for King Robbo, my school classmate.
I can't see it from there. Where is it?
My school classmate is King Robbo.
Oh,
You heard of him?
King Robbo, yeah.
The one that Banksy was targeting?
Oh, yeah, I know. Robbo, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know the reason why they killed him? You know? I'll tell you what, my reason, my view. He went to Palestine to perform his art on the walls of Palestine. And they didn't like that. Islington is a Jewish stronghold area
In London, and it's one of the top 10 Jewish strongholds.
So they brought in Banksy, who's a stencil artist, and everybody's used a stencil. So there you go. I'll bid you a good day. You do indeed.
Get the message out to the boys in the graffiti, so they understand what the coup is, what's occurring. Spreading the word. This is Indian food, sweets. So I believe that the coup has already happened. Iran gave, along with President Aoun and all the Zionist politicians, gave, along with even possibly Gibran Basir's mob, who, let's face it, are Maronites, and now have seemed to be cozying up with the western side of the forces, western side of the Lebanese government, where they previously were in bed with the resistance. Well, you know what? When a leader comes down, when a leader is brought down or taken out, someone there did it. Whether it was Yasser Arafat being taken out by what George Galloway was trying to lead me to say, Abbas, or essentially he doesn't realise that the fact of the matter is Israel, because Israel tells what Abbas should be doing, tells him what to do. So I'm not 100% with these analysts of today in their debunking. I believe that Iran has been taken over already. I really do. I believe they're going to spare Khomeini, because if they, I believe Khomeini might have played his part in the deal. As a result of the leader of the resistance being killed. I think they all knew before, they knew what was going to happen, and it was collectively organised. And I'm not in, I believe that I don't know how to say this without sounding so sectarianly conflicted, but I don't have faith in the Christians in Lebanon. I certainly don't have faith with the ones that are holding my presidential case. I think they should be removed from working with the public, as all those people who I've said they should be removed from working with the public in my podcasts before. I know it sounds extraordinary, but there are things that happen behind doors that we don't get told. And those things that happen behind doors, journalists are not questioning, they're not bringing forth. Who's going to take the oil in Lebanon, yeah? Who's going to take the gas? How much is the Aoun family going to take? Let's not kid ourselves, yeah? The president of Lebanon, his name is Aoun, and the former president of Lebanon was also called Aoun. Do you understand, yeah? Is anyone going to tell me he's conveniently not related? Because if you are, get off my podcast, unsubscribe, and go find some Sky News article or some dodgy Arab who's out there trying to make money like that Ali Aoud, whatever his name is, who was teaming up with Syriana to cuss me live when I was questioning them about the very similar facts, which turned out fact after I said them live in my questions. They were not believing that what I was saying was right, and they were taking the piss out of me live, shouting out, calling out my name, my Lebanese Tips ID. But now they look the foolish ones, and Kevok shouldn't have invited Ali Aoud on, because Ali Aoud, or whatever his name is, Muhammad Aoud, that's right, Muhammad Aoud, yeah, he's a terrorist supporter, like Five Pillars are. Robert Carter, Roshan Saleh, Dili Hussein, Muhammad Hijab, yeah, all these are terrorist supporters. Shame on them. And shame on those who invited them. They probably got told that here's some cash. Put him up on your channel, here's some cash. Yeah? Is that what the way it was? Amazing the amount of money that gets exchanged in these wars. I don't see none of it. Don't see none of it. I'm demonetised. I'm just trying to get accountability on my presidential case. I'll come off social media. I'll stop talking on social media once I get accountability. Until then, those people who have impacted my presidential case and those people who have caused me to lose out on timescales, yeah, I don't forgive and I don't forget. And there's no way I'm letting this go. There's absolutely no way. No way. Yeah. President Aoun of Lebanon, I address you. You don't like it when people slag you down and your wife down on social media, do you? Yeah. One of the tweets that I sent was reported today, so I've been labelled again, so my tweets ain't getting out to the public. Been shadow banned again. Because your Youssef Raghi isn't doing a job, but you appointed him. You put him in that job. He's part of your government. My file has already been handed over to him by the Lebanese embassy here in London, my quote presidential case unquote. Why is it that nothing's been done? Why? So that when we continue trying to seek accountability and then get pissed off with you so that we can say you're a cunt. And then once we say you're a cunt, we get emails like from Jeremy Corbyn the other day saying my language is this and that. But prior to that, when we send you information and we contact you, and my case is with the Lebanese embassy that was handed over to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we come over and we see you and your representatives like Hazem Abdus Samad, the former First Consul, because your former president, yeah, your former president, Michel Sleiman, yeah, told me to go down there and meet them, yeah, told me to meet the ambassador. Why is it that I was subjected to the First Consul, former First Consul? Why? I don't like it when we go around messing around with your small-time positions. I go straight to the top. I think your position, your credibility, not just the position that you're in now, but the position that other presidents will be in after you, yeah, will be demonised and ridiculed and belittled by British forces like MI6. Thank you. Cab driver stops for me. I wonder whether it's because I've got a Palestinian scarf on. So when CID tell my family, oh yeah, your son thinks that the president, Prime Minister Michel Sleiman is his friend, and it's impacted my life in a significant manner and my credibility to earn and my future shattered career. You don't feel I should be approaching you and calling your missus a cunt? Well, why don't you do your job properly then? Mr. President Aoun, here's another salute with my left. You make me sick. You really make me sick. I can't do nothing. My mum is in hospital right now. I can't do nothing. I am not financially ready to do with anything. You continue to bend over backwards for the British government and the Americans and the Jews. But when it comes to us, Lebanese, us, who come over and pump money into Lebanon when we go there on holidays and get ripped off with when money gets transferred and all of a sudden a huge chunk of it disappears through the government. You're charging people £700, £800 return flights to Lebanon, £800. Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? Who's going to come to Lebanon now? I'm hearing reports that Lebanon is going to be bombed next month, proper. I'm hearing reports that Lebanon is going to be at war again. So under your reign, Mr. Aoun, you're not doing a good job, are you? You're not representing Lebanon, are you? It's a shame that Lebanon didn't get rid of the Western-backed politicians. So now they see how the Western-backed politicians do it to them. If Iran doesn't bomb Israel in a manner in which it destroys the infrastructure, yeah, I feel sorry for the Lebanese, specifically the Shiite, because they're going to just remove all ability to be a credible force in Lebanon. And let's face it, yeah, most of the people in Lebanon, are anti-Israel. Most. It's a very, very small, unworthy to mention because of the quantity of people that do support Israel. In reality, and behind closed doors. So, if Strait of Hormuz doesn't get shut down, and they'll be somewhat selective, and I heard yesterday Professor Morandi was saying that they don't want to shut it down, then that is a sign that you, Lebanon, should wake up with. Yeah? Strait of Hormuz should have been shut several years ago. What happened? What happened? What happened? Yeah, that's it. What happened? Why wasn't that done? Because you've just allowed them to take over. Strait of Hormuz should have been shut down. All oil outlets in Saudi Arabia should be bombed. When I say should be, I'm trying to put myself in a situation where, because I strongly believe that the powers that be are going to win this anyway, that is there any way to alter that? Is there any way to deal with it that can have a significant impact? And this is what I'm discussing. Some people out there might want to, I don't know, implicate me in a legal, criminal way. But I speak from a personal capacity, and I don't support political parties, and I don't think that I have any respect out there in the Lebanese community of any significance to influence anyone. Yeah, I don't think that anything that I say will have an impact on Lebanon's outcome. But what I will say is I'm not 100% trustworthy of Iran. You might be trustworthy. Now, who is it that I'm not trustworthy of Iran? It's not the whole political parties in Iran, no. It's the Western-backed political parties in Iran, those who are ultimately the poison. Yeah? What's to say that they haven't. Well, they already have, I believe, infiltrated the Iranian government to the extent that if we're seeing some of its top officials, president, be killed, all these other commanders, clearly there must have been a coup. There must have been a coup, and what's happening right now is just a show. That's how I believe it. It's down to journalists to investigate it, to debunk it. But unless Iran pounds Syria, Israel, unless Iraq join in on this, I see Lebanon being taken over. I mean, look at Lebanon right now. Look at Lebanon right now. Its whole surrounding is encircled, with the exception of the sea, with Julani's Syria. Lebanon is circled. There is no way out other than the sea, and you've got Israel there. It really is. I mean, understanding how to utilize the masses, how to influence the masses, is a matter for credible people out there that I'm not seeing. I'm not seeing that influencing of credible unity that would persuade a change of foreign policy in all the countries that are involved. And the same goes with Russia. Russia, Putin is a rat. Putin has been put there by Israelis. That's what they do. And until you journalists start coming out properly, I mean, most of you journalists don't come out with these facts, or have been too shy to speak about Putin and Assad and Iran. You're wrong. When it hits your town, yeah, you don't care who it is. And I've already reached that level. I don't care who it is. If it's Iran, I'll come out here and I'll tell the public my views. If it's Saudi Arabia, if it's the Western-backed Lebanese politicians, I'll say it. They should have got rid of them. Those Western-backed politicians in Lebanon. To me, the Lebanese now have seen that they've had to, the Israelis have killed Lebanese political leaders and politicians. Now that they've seen that, why haven't they retaliated in that way? Why haven't they? I'm thinking to myself, well, what are they going to do now? Why haven't they done that? If by debunking the government in the resistance was done in the way it was, how comes the Lebanese resistance haven't removed them from power in Lebanon? Debunk the Western-backed appointed representatives who call themselves Lebanese. But we know they are foreign agents. They are foreign agents. I mean, the least they could do is flatten Israel so that this attempted expansion would be detrimental to the plans that they have. If Iran doesn't start to act in a way where it does that to Israel and all American interests, then they're going to get taken. But you see, this is where I tell you that they've been taken over several months, if not a couple of years ago. I believe that that's happened. And I believe that for them to stay alive and survive, those anti-Zionists in Iran, they have to do a deal with the Zionists in order for them to be at some sort of safety. At the expense of Lebanon, at the expense of Syria, at the expense of Palestine. So think about that. I've seen some of you analysts talk. I don't think you're talking hard talk. And I'm not talking about the hard talk on the BBC. Stop donating to Jeremy Corbyn. Stop donating to George Galloway. Stop donating to journalists who are being gagged from speaking with openness, and donate to journalists who haven't. Independent journalists. Stop donating to your white boy podcasters. Start donating to the Palestinians, your Syrians, your Lebanese. My internet ran out, so I'm doing this podcast today offline. It's not live. Days where there's a gap, where you haven't planned things. That is so frequent. It's unbelievable. I'm going to have to change my subscription. I'm on unlimited phone calls, texts, and internet, and unlimited surfing, as well as 100 minutes of international calls. 25 quid. But I believe there's a few companies that are doing it for less than that for your unlimited tariffs. So that could be something that you would start to do as a family out there. Start to look for ways, discuss even with your children, ways to reduce the bills in the house, the food that's got to be purchased, the kettle that's got to be turned on. Get rid of the kettle. Get a pot and boil your water in it to make coffee, and put your water in a flask, so that when you want another cup of water, you don't have to turn on that kettle. Do you understand? You have to approach the electricity in that manner on different aspects of the house. For example, your LED lighting will be using less electricity. So you convert and bring down that bill. Again, over a year, it'll add up. Now your fridge as well. Your fridge needs to be of the quality, because it's on 24/7s. Your fridge needs to be of the quality that uses the least amount of electricity, which means that you might have to pay several £100s for a good quality fridge, which will, like Bosch, I find Bosch a good make, German, will reduce your electricity significantly. So that's with your fridge. What else gets kept on? By approaching these, food as well. your suppliers of food. If you can open up a charity between you and your families and your neighbours and those that have joined you in this adventure of reducing your bills and creating an environment where you are countering the welfare benefits that they're deducting from you, countering the expensive bills that are rising significantly. And that way you can create some elbow space in your families and to ease the stress that, let's face it now, families are more stressed across the world than ever before. No families have been growing up these generations in the stressful levels that we are witnessing since 9/11 onwards, I did that. I really should be talking about my presidential case and about these politicians. Thank you, sir. Did you hear that? It's a stranger. I love your kafir. And he done that. We're outside Chapel Art Gallery. Obviously some kind of event going on there. Your internet bills, you can all have one router for your internet and your families. You put a little cable that goes out of your house and goes into your neighbours and your other neighbours and your other neighbours and your other neighbours. As long as you get a good, decent connection, you should be able to afford the fastest internet. Those bills that come off will have VAT on them, tax on them. Once you have a charity, a name of a charity, and I believe that families should start understanding how charities function. There are organisations out there that can provide that kind of consultancy. You would only have to pay for it once off. And actually you could eventually employ someone to deal with that on a part-time basis if you've got enough people. Just think how much money you could save, how much cheaper products you can save when you claim back that VAT at the end of the financial year. Here in London it's in April in the UK. That VAT is a significant amount of money coming back to you in any country that you're in. Do you understand? So you see, these are important factors that I would like to stimulate the central nervous systems of people out there to start thinking on how we can counter bringing down the nerves, the stress levels.
Yes.
So there needs to be a spring cleaning on your bills that you pay out. Every bill that goes out, every expense that goes out, it has to be scrutinised in a manner. There should be an app created that deals with all your bills, all your house matters, it should be all intertwined into your activities. There should be an app, but there isn't, and they won't bring one out because those useful apps are very rare, far between, and most of them are there to intercept your activities on the net. and you click this and click that, and you accept the terms and conditions without thinking twice. That is something that Lebanon hasn't been educated properly with. I only end up hearing it off expats who go out there and tell them. I hope it doesn't kick off in Lebanon. I really do, because you know, I mean, it's devastating. I believe it's going to happen. Lebanon are going to go into another confrontation now. And my advice is, if you're united, yeah, you can bring down any fucking president or prime minister. If you're united, yeah, all the fighter jets out there, all the nuclear weapons, they're not going to be as credible as the masses. I believe that Netanyahu, I believe that the fatwa has become a rarity, like a delicacy now. It's like caviar. Why is it that after Salman Rushdie, Iran never issued a fatwa at the highest levels? Why is it that Benjamin Netanyahu and all the other war criminals in the government, in the terrorist state invaders and occupiers of Palestine, why haven't they issued a fatwa on their heads? Issued millions of pounds on their heads? Why hasn't that happened? Ask yourself. Why hasn't Iran done that? Why hasn't leaders, Muslim leaders in Lebanon, sheikhs, scholars, why haven't they issued fatwas on Netanyahu? Why hasn't fatwas been issued on the Lebanese government? Why? Why hasn't a fatwa been issued on the Western-backed Lebanese politicians? Those dual agent terrorists that are just there because they're getting the money and they can leave the country anytime they like and their families are sorted, or their families are sorted. So I believe that we should stop having a Maronite president. I believe we should stop having a Sunni prime minister. I believe we should stop having a politician as part of government. I believe that we should run the country on ourselves, by ourselves. I believe that Lebanon has the money to do it, and I don't know why they think that Iran is the country that we're left to rely on. I don't believe in China. I think China is already being sucked up by the Zionists. Decades ago, when Patton was running it, and the Hong Kong, Shanghai, and all the business that have come out. I remember with the Hong Kong, Shanghai exhibition in London's Barbican, when they were supposedly, Patton was leaving and he was handing back the business to the Chinese. Yeah, right. All the Chinese are the nodding heads. They're like a dog, you know those dogs that you stick in the back of your car and it nods like that. The Chinese are the nodding heads. The Iranians, they're all talk, no action. And now they spunk a few old, ancient missiles. They think that they've taught Israel a lesson. They said that, oh, we don't want to kill the people, yeah, because we're Muslim. Because they think that in Islam, that is the definition. They don't want to kill the Israeli IDF occupiers and invaders in Palestine. I don't want to kill them off because they're saying that the definition of Islam is such. Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you to tell us that the definition of Islam is says that we can't take an eye for an eye? Who the fuck are you trying to pervert the translation of Islam, suggesting that whatever they do to us, we can't do back to them because we're Muslims? Is that the Western-backed selected sheikhs wearing that shitty rag on their heads? The muftis and all these Muslim leaders names? Is that what they say? Anyway, kind of lost for words. It's just a shame that I can't speak as openly, and I don't like these being gagged from a lawyer telling me to tell the public about my findings and then be gagged from it by a judge. That is just outrageous. Stay tuned, yeah? Stay tuned.